welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me, as always, is Trevor Scott.
Yes, and I've got a rather sexy voice this week because I'm a little under the weather.
Sick voice, yeah. Well, we'll make do, and
we just recorded an episode of something awesome last night, and I had very sexy sick voice there. So
we also made you laugh so hard that you coughed up a lung just about, so that didn't really help your sickness. But
however,
look for that coming soon. It was very fun,
fucking funny. But that's the second episode.
I mean, they were both very good.
Yes.
We'll definitely plug it here once it comes out.
Once it comes out. And we'll probably have the other member of that troupe in the podcast again.
Well, he's been here before. He'll be here again.
Yes. Very soon.
But what are we doing tonight, Trevor?
Let's play some click pitch. Why not?
Yeah.
It's just some standard ones. We don't need to do the adventure game design done quick again.
No.
I'm in the mood to laugh.
That's okay.
Let's see what stupid ideas we can come up with this time.
Yeah, that's right. So, click pitch. This is the game where we each have a random word generator in front of us, and on the count of 3, 2, 1, click, we're going to get a word, each say them out loud. You'll know them too, and we're going to just use those to riff on some game ideas, see where it takes us. And
use it to loosely bring the game together. It's just
this is not hard and fast rules. This is not competitive game design. There are no fouls here.
No, we're not in the World Game Design Championships like we were the last few years. So
yeah, we're past our professional period. Now we're just back
hobbyists.
to doing it for fun. Now we're just the grizzled old game designers.
Yes.
who if someone comes and says we're getting the old team back together, maybe we'll get out there and have one last
crack at the championship. Yep.
Yeah.
So 3, 2, 1, click.
Yeah. Glutton.
Idiot.
Glutton and idiot.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, there's a plethora of games where the main character is kind of a buffoon. This feels a bit like
a Leisure
that
Larry
sort of
style
thing.
game of, the lovable
that definitely
idiot
came to mind.
Just,
Now, tackling the glutton side of things, maybe it's not food, because, we don't want to necessarily go down the eating disorder path, essentially.
No.
But maybe they're a glutton for something else, Maybe
punishment.
there's
A glutton
for punishment.
Yeah. They've been a bad boy.
Just really into S&M.
Yeah, I've been a bad boy, and no one wants to punish him.
Nobody wants to punish him.
He's looking for love.
It's not sexual, though. It's not sexual. It's purely psychological.
It's purely psychological. He wants to be punished because he's been a bad boy.
For an authority figure to punish him and tell him what to do.
Yeah. But he's away from home.
Yeah.
And so I think that he can't go to his usual place to get, his
like teachers,
his justice
parents, playing up at school, his boss.
So he's now out and about, got to live in the real world and actually find someone to give him his punishment. So
I'm uncomfortable.
You're uncomfortable. What sort of punishment were you thinking?
I wasn't thinking punish. You said punishment. My word was glutton.
Yes.
So I mean, just someone
you just didn't want
that
to
has a particular.
So I went for the next thing.
No, I know. I understand I understand how we got here. I'm just uncomfortable that we followed that path.
Well, you're a glutton for punishment because you knew that I was going to go there. So the whole game is about Ben looking to be punished because he's a bad little boy.
I'm a bad boy. 3, 2, 1, click.
Papaya. Smash.
Papaya Smash.
Now,
I mean, that's a title.
I
right
thought
there.
it was actually going to go sexual, but now I'm thinking it's going to go sexual. Like, because you just want to smash that papaya.
Pretty sexy fruit.
It's a pretty sexy fruit. You put a hole in that thing and everything what it wants.
The seeds inside. I mean, I
broke
you're just
Ben.
determined tonight to break me.
Yeah.
I'm taking it in a more serious direction.
Okay.
An actual game that could be playable.
Okay. Fair enough.
Because Papaya Smash feels like some kind of arcadey thing,
It
right?
does.
Like, it feels Fruit Ninja-ish, obviously, because the fruit. So I definitely think, is this dropping papaya from a height? Is it smashing them with a hammer in some way? Is it like baseball? Is it just a bunch of different mini games all to do with papaya?
I don't know why, but I'm seeing this as like, you know, a late 80s, early 90s style platformer game by Apogee. But the only thing that you can do is you're carrying a papaya and a hammer.
Yep.
And the only attack that you've got is to throw that thing up in the air and time it to swing the hammer.
Swing the hammer, yep.
And of course, if you don't, then it's going to hit the ground and smash. And then you need to pick up another one. And you haven't smacked it.
Well, I think
all
maybe what
down.
happens every time it hits the ground is it grows a papaya tree. Maybe on certain ground, like types of ground. And that's where you get your next stash of papayas.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be doing that in the middle of a fight because
it's going to take a while to grow.
It takes a little while to grow, but once
15
it does
to 20
grow,
years is a very long time to grow. You know, you're going to be waiting and that's real time.
Yeah, you can only ever play this game.
But you can only carry one papaya because you've only got two hands.
If you drop the papaya, you're fucked.
You've only got one. You've only got two hands, so you got to choose when to throw that papaya up in the air and swing the hammer. And the timing is very, very tight. Like, yeah. You hate
so
where I'm going with all these.
Well, I just feel
ideas.
like there's nowhere to go from there in an actual game sense.
Then challenge me on it. Come on, I'm trying to be fun.
I am. I get that you're in the more impro side of things right now, and I'm in the more actual game side of things, which sometimes happens. But because I'm
going to break you. I'm going to break you.
I don't want to be broken.
Yes,
I was thinking that you drop, like, because you drop the papaya and like it grows into the tree, and then you get it. Like, that gives you an opportunity, right? Because now you've got a bunch of papaya growing from the tree, and you can do, you know, a jump and smash on the papaya hanging from the tree to take out the enemies. Right?
I will yield to your idea.
Synergistic, you know, game mechanics happening here, but it takes time. There's balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But can you still throw it up and time it? Because
of course, and then what happens is you don't want to smash them all from the tree. You take one with you and you progress through the level, and then
until you're
using that one. Yeah, until you accidentally drop it again, or you
smack it into someone's face and you grow a papaya tree out of their face.
Yeah, totally. Like, I think these are fast growing papaya, and
you don't want to see it hitting you in the face. Because you're going to have roots growing out of your eyeballs.
Well, this thing, they're basically
painful,
like,
and it's just like every time that you hit into someone's face, it does that slow motion of you see the seed going across, and it hits them in the eye, and like fuck, and then
this little
tree
seedling immediately
that splits right out of their eye through the palm of their hand.
Oh yeah,
they were rubbing their eye with. And all of a sudden, their hand is now glued to their face with a tree growing out of it, and you see that in all the gory motion, and it goes papaya,
all the gory
smash.
EGA rendered,
all dithered, so much dithered
motion in its in all of its EGA glory.
And then you got that amazing MT32 soundtrack playing in the background, all layered as all fuck.
Well, that's it. And you get those moments as the tree's growing out of someone's face where the music crescendos, and it's very exciting.
Yeah, very. 3 to 1 click. Traveling.
Churning.
I've been churning, I immediately think butter.
I did think butter. The only other thing I thought was water, like traveling through like whirlpools or rapids or something, like
or
water.
or someone's stomach, churning because it's sort of like, ooh.
Or because they're getting sick on the boat, or you're in their stomach and you're traveling through the whitewater rapids of their stomach acid.
Yeah, like a Jonah and the whale situation.
Yeah, or an inner space.
Yeah. Okay.
Because that great scene in Inner Space where the bad guy gets dissolved.
I have not seen Inner Space for a very long time.
I haven't seen it in a long time. But
I have
that
forgotten
clearly
about
stood out.
I have forgotten about that.
Dennis Quaid is inside Martin Short.
Yes.
And
for a little bit, he's inside the female love
Meg
interest.
Ryan.
Meg Ryan.
Meg Ryan.
Okay, I couldn't remember who it was in that.
Yeah, Meg Ryan.
Yeah.
With good old Robert Picardo as the cowboy.
Bob Picardo.
It's fantastic.
God. Okay.
I could do an adventure through a body.
Yeah. Oh, is this like a point and click sort of adventure where you don't quite know that it's set inside a body, or is it a?
It could be. It's a classic amnesia opening.
Yeah.
And you find yourself in what feels very alien seeming.
In a village.
But yes, eventually, there's other people in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I just like the idea of you wake up in a village and you don't remember anything.
Yeah.
And
you slowly,
you're the leader of this village. You've been here for years, and obviously the sickness has overtaken you now.
Okay.
And it's one of those things of you, as you start to go, you realize that maybe they're not
something was not right. It's M. Night Shyamalan's The Village, except instead of the modern world, you're inside someone.
Yeah.
You finally escape from his village and find an anus you never come across before.
And then all of a sudden,
an intestine, I suppose. Like the anus is the end of that journey.
Yeah. Oh my God, you maniacs! You blew it up.
It's the Planet of the Apes.
Except
you realize
you're
in a body. Piece of corn stuck in it.
Yeah, it just looks like the spectrum.
The classic Ren and Stimpy.
Just to really sell it.
This is a very crude episode, I feel like, where we're going down a certain mood. Unison.
Fighter.
Oh, that's interesting. A unison fighter. There's something there about like synchronizing attacks.
Oh, it makes me feel like you want to actually have like a two-person co-op fighting game, and the more that you're in sync, the more
like damage you do,
the more damage you're doing. And basically, if you're both hitting the same buttons, you're
it's like, almost like a rhythm game.
A rhythm game, but it's because you're going, okay,
you're communicating.
We do, down, forward, towards, low punch, all at the same time. So
yeah,
like,
all right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah. Something about that if
you're thinking like a double dragon-esque brawler sort of thing, or you're fighting in teams against another person.
I do like a double dragon sort of thing of if you're only one person's hitting, it's obviously not doing as well. But if you're both sort of getting in time and hitting at the same time, you're doing more damage to these people, because it's sort of like, you're in sync.
I do like that, actually. Like, you could take these guys down solo, but it does like a 50th of the damage or something that it would do. So like you could whittle them down, or you can just work together.
Yeah. And it's so much fun to work together, because you're like, yes, we're getting these power-ups and all this sort of stuff that you get through
combos and
synchronicity and all this sort of stuff. And the whole time it's just playing Synchronicity 2 by the Police.
Yeah, of course. Just to keep you in sync.
Yeah. I don't know what do in sync do. Like, I don't.
Now you're full on just playing like.
I'm just showing my age. I don't
association.
know boy bands.
I just meant keeping you in sync, as in like synchronized.
Yes.
But I mean, if you want NSYNC in there, fine. We'll go down that path. I never remember those. That was the one with Justin Timberlake, right?
That was the Justin Timberlake one.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know much of that.
I just get them and the Backstreet Boys mixed up.
Yeah, I nearly said bye, and I'm like, no, that's Backstreet Boys. And
which you only know because of Deadpool. That. Yeah.
No, I really like this. I like this.
And I wonder if you can have some aspects then of it's not just about purely syncing up the buttons. You have sort of just
you could be punching and kicking
moves.
at the same time. It's the fact that you're hitting in sync. Like,
well, yeah, and I'm thinking things like juggling enemies back and forth in a sense, like you hit and then you hit and then and it's about the timing of it, but you're working together.
Yeah,
and you're building up the damage each of you hit these enemies back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, even just having each of you on a different rhythm, like.
Like you on the backbeat.
One is on.
Got some syncopation happening.
One is on the 1 and the 1 and the 3, and one is on the 2 and the 4. And
right,
you're gonna,
right.
Like
yeah. You're on the snare. You're on the kick.
You're on the kick. So snare is obviously fists, and kick is obviously kicks on the feet.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. And then someone comes in on the cowbell.
And then Christopher Walken comes in and says more cowbell.
Yeah,
and it's a whole bit like the cowboy level, cowbell level,
the cowbell
amazing
level. Yeah, dunk, 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 dunk. You're just going through, just hitting people left and right. It's actually a shooting level. Dunk, dunk, dunk. I feel like you.
3 seconds to launch. This word is all about me tonight. Filter. I have no filter.
Syllabus. Or maybe we need to call it the silly bus.
The silly bus. That's the name of the episode. The silly bus.
Silly bus. I mean, syllabus just makes me think, obviously, of like a university or something. You've got the books you're supposed to be reading, or that's what that word means, right? Like it's around,
syllabus is like here is what you are learning this year or in this module.
Right. It's like yes, yeah. It's sort of about a class.
Yeah.
Okay, but maybe you're learning something more like something interesting then.
Ooh,
what could you be going? What sort of interesting class could you be going through?
A couple of different things come to mind.
Yeah.
Let's just list them off. I'll take one, then you take one. Then So you could be learning how to dance.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could be learning how to make robots.
You could be learning how to fight.
Okay. You could be learning how to fly.
You could be learning how to love.
Ooh. You could be learning how to turn a country into an oligarchy and take power and become a dictator.
Now you just stole my idea of grifting.
Right, yeah. Although actually that's cool. From a romantic, like, con man sense.
Yeah.
You're at school for the grift.
Yeah. Okay, grifting. I do like that, and
it's like, isn't it? Is that what it is in? I can't, fucking hell! What's the big mech? Pacific Rim. They're in the drift. It's the drift, right? I can usually never remember that. They find, like when they're connected, they're in the drift. This is you're in the grift. It's when you're like the flow state.
You and your partners are actually. It's. At any stage, you can just slow it right down. You can see the pieces falling into place.
That's it. You're so connected and seeing people's behaviors that you're synced in the grift.
I've been playing so many point-and-click adventure games lately, in like early 80s or late 80s, early 90s, Sierra, LucasArts, all those sort of ones. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing this all in that like
sure
real pixel art style. Probably close to the Sierra before they went into the actual point and click,
the
ones,
cartoony stuff,
but more the Leisure Suit Larry
classic
2 and 3, and
walking around with your arrow keys,
and when you type, the pausing parser comes up. So that style of Sierra graphics,
right?
I can see that working so well for like a grift sort of situation, where your first thing is that your mentor sort of takes you down, and he gives you a couple of little tips in what to do, and right at the end of your first grift, you feel you enter the grift, and you feel everything slow down, and like everything sort of gets a halo.
So you're able to react.
And you're actually able to react and
any sort of problems coming up.
Yeah. It's just at the end, it's like, oh wow, you just went into the grift. Like, and he actually goes, you're a natural kid. And then it jumps to, a couple of years later.
Then it's like,
and you're part of a grifting team
the
now.
journey here. Yeah, you're like you're still, it's your work experience year, your placement.
Yeah,
because you've gone through
with your mentor,
this teaching.
You're not with the mentor because like something's happened in the in between time, and that will be explored throughout the game.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm thinking this should be a full on school.
Yes,
I don't think it's just this guy business. Like you're going to 3-card Monty class.
Yes,
and pickpocketing, sleight of hand.
There's a magic
fast
teacher
talking.
There. There's a magic teacher who's like, I was kicked out of the magic castle for grifting.
Yeah, okay, stealing customers' things.
So now I teach 3-card Monty and how to do sleight of hand.
Yeah,
and I just love the idea of having to put all these things into play in the like second half of the game when you're actually having to solve the puzzles.
Well, and I feel like in these sorts of stories, there's always someone's doing a long con, right? That's kind of your main. He's like it's like pulling off your major heist. It's like doing a con over years that gets you a big outcome.
I mean, the mentor,
a big haul.
The mentor. The reason why you're no longer friends is because he's actually been pulling a long con the entire time. Because he's actually an undercover cop.
Right, so there's layers to this. So he is a grifter, but was he a grifter and then he's working for the cops, or he learned to grift so he could go deep undercover?
Or he was originally a cop who then, as part of his undercover personality, he said that he was a grifter, learned all the stuff, stayed undercover because he was still, in the midst of doing this. Started this grifting school.
Got so into it.
But then finally, the case finished.
Right.
And so he disappears. And the school is floundering now because it's like, they feel like they've been grifted by the person who was running it.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people are saying, well, what did you expect? It was a grifting school.
Yeah. You can't get your money back because it's not sponsored by anyone. Like you gave all your money to.
Yeah, I mean it's part cult essentially.
Yeah,
it's an underground school. You're not gonna be able to go to the Better Business Bureau or whatever.
Yeah,
it's essentially the actually useful Trump University. It's like if Trump University had actually taught what he knows how to do, as opposed to just ripping people off.
Yeah.
That's cool, and I love that idea of coming up with a lot of the names for all your different grift styles and techniques and stuff. We're going to do the Florida monkey on this one, so make sure you keep your hidden
and then you look
safe.
into the manual that you've got. Like you get given a book and you flip to it, and it lays out what each of these grifts are, and you can read through all the other ones, kind of like with your different games that we've sort of played recently, you know,
like Demon Masquerade
and all those sort of things and the Demon Masquerade, where you can actually read all these things, and when they come into play later on, I was like, I saw that grift, and I'm like, I wonder how this was going to work in the game. It was like, it is actually happening in the game. Like,
well, and I like that, you know, that
there's even a chance that you can choose the grift to actually do at one stage.
Yeah, or at least choose between a few, or it's that, you know, a few different grifts start the same way, and depending on your next step, it's like, okay, which direction is this going to go in? Like, how are we going to manage this one?
Yeah. And this would be perfect for storylets, because it's like you could actually, you know, again, have people come back in who have been successfully grifted or not, or who caught
again,
you.
if you make it, if you made it a bit more systems based in that sense, where it's like, okay, people are going to react in particular ways to certain moves, and then the grifts are all made up of just these various sort of moves, conversational moves or sleight of hand moves or different things that you can do at different points.
Yeah.
It would be kind of interesting to come up with just a grifting system with certain responses to different things based on previous steps.
And
that sounds really tricky.
What was your charm skill like? Okay, your charm skill was actually really good.
Well, and even rolling dice, like almost rolling dice in between in various steps to say, okay, what did you get your sleight of hand level to? What have you got your conversation, you know, charisma sort of to? Not necessarily going down the full D&D route of those particular skills, but having some random outcomes there. But having options for like, oh shit, if this goes bad, you've got ways to smooth it over and get out of it with these other techniques, you know?
Exactly.
Techniques for a fast escape or techniques to save a failed whatever. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. That's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. And there's something about grifting and all that sort of stuff that I think we have gone into once or twice before, but just getting to play with like it's almost like a non-linear quest, if you know what I mean. Like the quest itself is linear, but the things that happen in between the parts are like,
well, and I mean that's very much where you and I think see a lot of potential in storylets where the prerequisite for a particular type of quest to happen is based on things that have happened previously, what type of people you've run into, what archetypes of people you have in your history the system can bring into a storylet, but then that storylet plays out in a very systems-based way. It's like, okay, now we're sort of playing the gameplay loop within that storylet, but then the outcomes of that also then affect sort of the overall state of the game, which then affects what can happen next.
Yeah.
It's a very intriguing loop, and I think you and I would really like to
do something
actually build something like that one day.
Hell yes.
That would work well in this.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, I think we've got time for one more.
Yeah, let's do one more. Gangway.
Initiate.
Okay, that actually, those two words together made me think of like first contact with an alien, and they're coming, you know, that sort of classic scene of them coming down the gangway out of their ship and initiating contact.
Yeah. Have you flown to this other planet?
Right, it's you. You're making first contact with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a ton of stuff we can do there, and particularly in the types of games that you and I, again, have been talking about recently, or in like did you ever play Chance of Sonar?
What happens if you fuck up first contact? Like, really, what happens if you fuck up first contact?
Well, I'm just thinking about like having to start figuring out languages and body language and reactions and facial expressions, and starting to put those together into a language that you can at least get the intention of these alien beings, and then maybe eventually actual words and stuff.
Yeah. And hope it's not a purge planet, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
that would just be the worst.
I think you'd do this more of. Did you ever play Chance of Sonar?
No.
Okay, that's very much.
And you played it from my library.
I think I played your copy for sure.
But Yeah,
that's very good. You should play that, actually, because it's very much this figuring out particular words in languages and then filling in the gaps and then finding a key that gives you a few more words to something. And it's got a similar Obra Dinn-esque style of, nice. you figured out these 4 words. Okay, we're going to lock those in and you know they're correct. And then, and that leads you to more. But yeah, having to do that with a broader range of things like facial expressions, body language, like particular movements, arm movements, or like think about figuring out, someone figuring out that someone waving can be hello or goodbye, that sort of thing. But for obviously a completely alien thing, it's like, when they wiggle their long ear stalks in this particular way, it means hello or whatever.
Yeah. And when they flip you the bird, that's you're really awesome and really love you.
Yeah, and that's purely coincidental.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of getting used to.
But when they pull a gun, that's when they respect you.
Everything's opposite. Yeah, they start giving Nazi salutes, and then you know that you're their friend.
Yeah. It's just their way of saying hello,
It's just their way of saying my heart goes out to you.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Just because they've got a swastika on their arm and they're speaking German the whole time.
That's purely coincidental.
Purely coincidental.
Didn't the Enterprise end up on literal Nazi planet one day? One episode? One day.
Maybe they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just say that Star Trek have done some really, really weird shit. But I don't know. I do like the rules for First Contact that they came up with most of the time. Like,
yeah.
Not helping them with technology and all this sort of stuff. It makes sense. You don't, if you only really want to be talking to warp-capable species because, that's when they're ready. You're
creating uplifting civilizations that maybe aren't ready for it. But I think in this case, again, like figuring out the local technology and stuff is another fun a cool little thing to be able to.
What do those writing and three seashells do?
Yeah, you have to figure out the 3 seashells. Are we past the year that Demolition Man was set in?
That was 2023, wasn't it?
I think it was something.
I'm glad that you got my sly reference to Sly Stallone.
We're not quite there yet. 2032. We're 7 years off.
There we go.
Yeah. So we've still got 7 years to invent the 3 seashells.
Yep.
And what is it?
And have
Pizza Hut
and
Burger King.
It depends. It depends on if you're watching the Australian version or the American version.
Oh, that's right. They say, yeah.
It's a badly dubbed Pizza Hut in Australia or Taco Bell everywhere else in the world.
Taco Bell, yeah. Yep. And isn't it President Schwarzenegger?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're maybe past. There was a while there where that was potentially a possibility, but
except for the fact that he's literally not allowed to be president because of the constitutional rules of he wasn't born here, and
Yeah, no, I know. Apparently, according to the Wikipedia, they specifically mentioned there was a constitutional amendment so he could run for office because he was so popular.
And then he was a politician, which was great.
Yeah, he was governor. Yeah,
that's the end.
Well, I think we'll leave it there for tonight. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. If you'd like to find our previous episodes online, go to podchaser.com/Bitstorm. Check them out. Leave us a review. I've started posting a few of my favorite ideas that we come up with on Blue Sky occasionally for a bit of further discussion. So if you see one of those posts,
comment.
Just know that you can come back and check out the episodes that they're from, and there's plenty more ideas.
Yeah. And if you like the song that we play at the start and end of each episode, that song is called Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure by the band Dust. It's pretty cool. It's I played the bass on it. Ben sang on the album. Yeah, just go check it out. It's free. Kuridos.bandcamp.com.
Yep. That's right. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
3, 2, 1, grift.